Hello, guys. It's Thor. And today we are going to be taking a look at the USA birth chart because things have been going so crazy. And I think everyone can feel it in the air. We can all feel that it feels like we're on the verge of some really big events that are about to happen. And on the surface, those events might seem scary on the surface. I want y'all to be aware of that. This is really a fundamental shift of consciousness that's happening. And what we're going to be seeing play out is a lot of that stored karma that the USA has as a country, as a nation, collectively has. There's a collective karma for the country. So even though on the surface things might look kind of chaotic, there's actually a great awakening that's going to be happening. So I don't want this to be totally fear-based, because I know that's kind of popular nowadays for people to want to really like, let's see the fear stuff, and I titled it Hunger Games, partly because it's a popular series, but because in a lot of ways, we're already in a crisis. We're already in a food crisis right now. So all you got to do is open your eyes. We're already in a crisis. A lot of times people are waiting for some big event to happen, and there's a lot of stuff already happening. So I want everyone to be aware of that. So let's take a look at my presentation. Give me a minute here, guys. For those of you guys that are new to my channel, please like and subscribe. My goal is 10,000 subscribers right now, so we're heading that direction. I think we're at 1,237 the last time I checked. And if you guys are interested in your own personal reading, it's 40% off right now if you put codename Thor on my website. If you purchase one of those readings, the details are down below if you guys are interested in a reading yourself. So I wanted to take a second and really talk to you guys about the situation that's happening not only in the USA, but around the world. I mean, if we want to talk about the world situation, there's a lot of stuff going on. For example, we have the Dutch farmers that are protesting right now. Their tractors are out on the roads and they're blocking the roads because of the various restrictions they're implementing there with the Agenda 2030 and so forth. So there's a lot of activity happening in the world. And, I've been noticing, even when I go up to San Diego and I go to the store, I've been noticing it's quite regular to see stuff missing on the shelves. Like when I go buy kitty litter or cat food for my 3 cats, I've been noticing that the shelves seem pretty thin. So that's pretty interesting. And I think that things are going to get worse before they look better, and especially in the next 6 months. Remember, I've been talking about this whole Saturn transit. You guys are probably aware of that. So things are going to get worse before they get better, but spiritually speaking, I'm telling you guys, we're heading towards a way better timeline than the one we were in. The old timeline, our consciousness was almost in this box. Lots of people were only thinking of their life as far as their 9-to-5 job. That was the only purpose in their life, and to acquire material things and to, go on their once a year vacation for 2 weeks. We're going into a new ascension timeline. There's a lot bigger purposes to life than that. There's a life centered living in the heart. That's where we're heading. Okay. But the people that are in control of that old matrix reality, they don't want to let go of power. But because consciousness itself is putting us through this change, they're going to have no choice, because this is coming from consciousness itself, the change. It's not coming from humans. It's coming from consciousness, and we're all part of consciousness. All right, so let's go to the presentation. So like I said, guys, the crisis is already here. We keep thinking that it's going to be something far-fledged in the future. Inflation is at 9.1% officially. Those are the official numbers. The global food prices are skyrocketing. What may seem like an I think I spelled something wrong. What may seem like an inconvenience for people in the developed world, like high prices in the grocery store, can be very serious to people living all over the world, especially people in developing countries. So we have to be aware of that. And I send my compassion and prayers to them, because to some people, this is really life or death situations. You know, if the price of flour, the price of corn go up, to people living in a developing country that can barely afford food, that is very serious. This has very serious global implications. Also, we have the Ukraine-Russia situation that's still very serious. Now, I do want you guys to be aware of, and I'm going to talk about this in a second as one of the possible events. I have had a warning, and I got a warning when I was meditating today, that there could be a direct escalation of the Ukraine, Russia and NATO conflict in mid-August. Okay. And so I'm praying, I'm sending my meditations, my positive energy to prevent that. But there's a chance of a really, really direct escalation between NATO and Russia in mid-August. Okay. And that is going to further send, if you think the prices of food are high now, or the prices of oil are high now, that's going to be a really big problem in the future. All right, I'm going to take us back here. So what we're going through, guys, we're going through, if any of you guys have been involved in spiritual practices, you guys are probably familiar with this concept of the dark night of the soul. So a lot of times when we go through an awakening process and we start spiritual practices like meditation, and we start to really, you know, enlarge our awareness or expand our awareness, what happens is we raise our vibration, our individual vibration. And then what happens is a lot of those deep buried traumas we have, like old resentments, old traumas, old like denser energies in our energy system, they come to the surface. So they call that a dark night of the soul. And a lot of times when those energies come to the surface, it can actually manifest in your outer world as, you know, bad things happening to you. For example, like losing your job, or, you know, an illness, or losing a relationship. Okay. But these are really energetic changes that are happening inside, which are affecting your reality seemingly on the outside. So we're going through a collective dark night of the soul. And I want you guys to be aware of that. For the next 6 months with Saturn and Capricorn, this is a collective. Okay, because there's not just our individual karma, there's our collective karma. What have we been sowing? You know, the old farmers used to sow, they reap and sow, right? So what kind of karma have we collectively been sowing? You know, have we been treating people with love, compassion, empathy? Have we been trying to, as a country, have we been trying to help the world in a really, you know, not just in a PR type of way? Have we been genuinely trying to help the world, or have we been self-motivated, you know, selfishly motivated? That is very important when we're talking about what kind of karma as a country we're reaping. It's very directly influenced. So the dark night of the soul, guys, this is the raise of vibrations, unresolved issues. And so this is happening on the microcosm. Okay, so everything that we see happening, this is the macrocosm. Okay, we are the microcosm, and then the outside reality is the macrocosm. So I have this really cool picture here. It says the Great Awakening, but I really wanted you guys to think about this cube. And interestingly enough, the moon has a lot to do with this, because the moon in astrology, it represents our consciousness. So I want you all to think about your consciousness. We're going through this Great Awakening right now. Rahu, Mars, Uranus, they're all going to be conjunct in Aries on July 31st. And it might seemingly seem destructive on the surface. Okay, this might seem destructive, but I want you also to be aware of your consciousness. Your mind may have been in a cube, a box. You've been in a controlled reality with certain reality inputs. You're not seeing all of reality. You're not seeing all of consciousness. So what is going to happen with this important conjunction on July 31st with Mars, Uranus, and Rahu? Well, there's going to be a really big expansion of consciousness. There's a lot of energies coming in. So I want you to think of that. But a lot of those denser energies are going to come to the surface. okay, in the form of, high grocery prices, in the form of, which I guess would be karma of famines, okay, droughts. We're seeing droughts. We're seeing war and conflict. So all these karmas are coming up to the surface, but we're going through this expansion of consciousness. Okay, I'm going to show you guys the charts. So we're going to take a look at the USA birth chart. Let's take a look at that. So the first thing I want to show you guys with the USA birth chart right now is the first thing we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the Mars, Uranus, and Rahu conjunction. You guys have been watching my video. That's going to be happening right here with those 3 planets in the 6th house of the USA chart, which is a very much problematic house. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a minute. 6th house, of course, represents things like wars, conflict, debt, enemies. So all types of, it's one of the evil houses in astrology. But first, let's talk about this Jupiter transit that's happening. For you guys might not be aware, but Jupiter has been in the sign of Pisces. In the USA chart, it's in the 5th house. Okay, the 5th house is a trine house. It's actually a really good, fortunate house for Jupiter to be in. Now, however, it's about to go retrograde. So it's going to be going this way. Okay, it's going to stay in the same sign for the whole retrograde, but it's going to be retrograde till November. So what I want you guys to be aware of is with Jupiter transiting, Jupiter going retrograde, I feel like this is the opening bell to a lot of series of events that's going to be happening. There's like a loss of grace, if you want to kind of envision it that way. Okay, so guys, July 29, 2022 through November 24th, 2022, Jupiter retrograde is going to happen in the 5th house of the USA chart. And I feel like this represents a loss of fortune and grace. Okay, in my experience, whenever we have Jupiter go retrograde or any planet go retrograde, I feel that the planet's not functioning right. There's a lot of astrologers that say the planet becomes stronger. In what I've observed for the last 10 years, it always feels like the planet doesn't function in a correct, smooth way. So I feel like there's a loss of grace. There's a loss of fortune. Okay, it's almost like that hedge of protection is being removed. Okay, that grace is being removed. Okay, it's almost like the collective karma is like being opened up. We could say God or source is like removing the hedge of protection, and now there's going to be some reaping of karma taking place. So seems to be an opening bell to some unfortunate events coming our way. And this happens right before, and you notice July 29th, that's right before the Rahu Mars Uranus conjunction, July 31st. But what I want y'all to be aware of is that through negative events can come the expansion of consciousness. Okay, so a lot of times people always want to label negative events as like, oh my gosh, it was so horrible, this, that, and this. But a lot of times when you go through the dark night of the soul, you come out. If you choose to do spiritual practices and you choose to rise up to the challenge and not let it make you become bitter, you can actually come out a better person. Just like if you have a rock under a mountain under tremendous heat and pressure, it turns into a diamond. Okay, so through unfortunate events, you can actually expand your consciousness and become a much more empathic, compassionate being. Okay, even though on the surface it looks bad from the 3D human point of view. I get it. We don't like to lose money. We don't like food to be expensive. We don't like that. I know we don't like it. I don't like it. But remember, consciousness is about expansion of consciousness. That's the #1 goal. Okay, guys, Saturn and Capricorn. And this is what's really interesting. I've been talking about this for a while. And that, guys, that started July 12th and that's going to January 17th. And this is a 6-month, this is where I feel like we're going to be in about a 6-month crisis situation. And also, the USA is in Sati Sati, a bad fortune event. We're going to talk about that when I show you the chart. So Saturn's also going to be going over USA natal K2. So it shows this is a very karmic time, super karmic. Let's take a look And I'm going to tell you, I expect actually a major power shift in the USA. I feel like there's going to be a lot of resignations from leadership positions and possibly a power shift. And we're going to talk about that in just a moment with the Rahu, Mars, and Uranus conjunction. So let me show you guys the chart really fast here. All right, let me clean that up for a second. So Saturn, transiting Saturn is right here, currently in Capricorn, and it's going to be there till January, and it's going retrograde. But look at that. It's in Sadi Sati. So USA is currently in Sadi Sati. Remember, Sadi Sati happens when Saturn transits the sign before your moon, the sign of your moon, and then the sign after your moon. Okay, so it's got a good 5 more years of being in Sadi Sati. Okay, and in India, this is typically seen as a very unfortunate, bad luck type of period. Okay, so interestingly enough, so Sadi Sati is happening, so that's not good. And then we have Saturn, it's over the natal Ketu right there. Okay, and what does Ketu do? Well, Ketu has a scattering influence. Saturn represents the government. Okay, so there's almost like this weakening of the government, weakening of structures. Like it could possibly be that the government's not really being fully able to deal with the situation that's happening. If there's some emergencies that happen at once, you know, if there's an escalation of conflict, war, and an escalation of crime, maybe with Ketu being there, it's not really able to manage what's going on, because of there's a lot of chaos going on. So that's for the next 6 months. We could be seeing a lot of chaos, and we could also be seeing some resignations. K2 is the karaka of resigning, okay, and then Saturn represents government. So we could see some resignations happening during that time also. So this is a very intense time, okay? This could be stuff hitting the fan. I'm trying to make it clean, stuff hitting the fan, and we see some really bad resignations and things like that. Let us move over to this really fast. So I see that happening, guys. Very karmic time because it's over one of the nodes. So Saturn being over one of the nodes, very karmic time. I expect resignations during this time, and I feel like there's going to be a crisis and a loss of order, which could be, I do feel like, I'm not trying to keep us negative, guys, but this is the karma that's manifesting, okay? There's going to be a huge crime wave, okay? I do feel like there's going to be a really big crime wave. We've already been seeing it in the cities, but I feel like crime is going to become a really big problem with Saturn going over K2. Okay, that shows a loss. There's a lot of confusion within the government. There's a lot of confusion about what to do. How do we deal with this? And so I feel like things are going to be a little bit chaotic because K2's dispersing. K2's like that nebulizing agent on Saturn. So Saturn's kind of wanting to do things, but K2's like kind of resisting it. Okay, so I don't feel like things are going to be quite in control. Okay, this is it's not a good thing if you're the government. Also, guys, we got to watch out for the trigger dates. Remember, I've been talking about this for a while, guys. July 31st to August 2nd. These are the trigger date. This is the trigger, okay? We could see Jupiter goes retrograde. We have the trigger, and then I see this trigger event really being active up to 90 days after the trigger event, okay? Uranus, Mars, Rahu conjunction, 24 degrees of Aries. This is happening in the USA 6th house. Happening in 4th house of Navamsha. I'm going to show you guys in the Navamsha chart what that looks like as well. So we're going to go and I'm going to show you there. So remember, guys, so we got Mars here. I'm going to use the sign for Mars. And then we got Uranus. And then we got Rahu. I'm just going to make a little Rahu symbol. These are all going to be at the same degree in the 6th house of Aries in the USA chart. Remember, 6th house represents, it's an evil house. It represents war, it represents conflict, but it also does represent crime. It can represent martial law. It can represent the military. Okay, so it could represent the military being called. Okay, this is definitely an important trigger event. This is a massive energy right here. Massive, okay? like I said, I did have that intuition about a possible escalation in the NATO-Russia conflict in mid-August. Okay, that's more of my Thor's intuition. There's a possible danger zone of a major escalation. Okay, and we are in a danger mode whenever there's like food insecurity and there's problems in the homeland. This is a good time for wars to start, so we have to be very careful during this time. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Like I said, I'm sending my prayers, I'm sending my thoughts for this not to happen. I don't want to see people, going through stuff like that. Okay, so that conjunction's happening here, right? Sixth house problem. Like I said, sixth house could represent major crime wave as well. Now look, this is the Navamsha chart, guys, the number 9 one here. Okay, check this out. Look at the sun in the Navamsha chart. It's at 23 degrees. Where's the conjunction happening? At 24 degrees. It's basically happening right on the natal sun in the Navamsha chart. Okay, so look at that. In the Navamsha chart, it's right on top of the sun. Okay, if we look at the Navamsha chart, it's the 8th lord, and it's in the 4th house of the Navamsha chart, which represents homeland. This could be some sort of major escalation or some negative event that happens within the homeland, within the territory of the United States. Okay. And with the sun, we could see a change in leadership. This could reflect the midterms. Don't get me wrong. This could be a change in government through the midterm elections. But it also could just represent a general change in power. Okay, so there's definitely something happening with that, with the sun being involved. There's a change in leadership, there's a change in power, there's possibly resignations happening in the next 6 months. Watch the news, you're going to see this happen. And these resignations might not just be from government officials, these might be from corporations and banks. Okay, so this is going to be resignation nation, okay? With K2 and Saturn right there. Maybe that could be a good thing in a lot of ways. Who knows? Okay. So that's what we got going, guys. That's what I see happening. I see this being really intense. And like I said, though, this is what I want to let you guys know, because I don't want you guys to be in fear. You can have your personal reality so strong where you're not very much influenced by the collective reality. I want you to be aware of that. Your vibration's high enough, you might be seeing what's going on in the collective, but not experiencing it in the way that everyone else is experiencing it. So that's why I think it's so important for you guys not only to do things like stock up on food, stock up on water, but what you're going to want to do is you're actually going to want to get involved, get in touch with your spiritual practices, get involved, raise your vibration. You don't want to be in the fear vibration. Okay, this is the bifurcation of time. This is a major point in our evolution, in humanity's evolution. Okay, and now I'm going to go check and see if there's any comments in the chat. Since let's see, I'm going to see if there's any comments in the chat. We got 19 viewers, or 19 people in the chat. It's really cool. Let's see if there's anything. I got some comments here. I'm just kind of taking a look. I thank you everybody for being here. All right. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. I don't see any questions here. One of the things I do want you guys to be aware of, and of course I'm going to be keeping on putting out videos. I'm going to put on my August predictions as well. But along with all the stuff that's happening, like if there's a major escalation in war, or if there's a major escalation of some things like major resignations happening, or a crime wave that's happening, this is going to negatively affect the stock markets. Okay, there could be I'm seeing a converging of many different forces. Okay, this could be like, that movie, The Perfect Storm, where there's like all these forces that come together all at once. So I want you guys to be aware of this. Could be the perfect storm. Okay, this could be like some sort of war provocation. At the same time, there's an economic situation, a crime wave, and different things happening. Okay, so I want you to know we're going to be in the middle of the hurricane. Okay, And also natural disasters. I didn't even bring that up, guys. Natural disasters, specifically earthquakes. Okay, so we are in this. I mean, this kind of feels like the end time madness. This feels like the end game. If any of you guys have been reading the book of Revelation, this is kind of what we're going through right now. But like I said, we are going through the end times. Why are we going through the end times? Because we're ending this old 3D reality of the age of Pisces. So we are in the quote unquote end times, but it's not what people think. It's not like the world's going to end. No, it's going to be, we're entering a new age, the age of Aquarius. We're entering fifth density. We're entering a higher awareness. So yeah, this is the end of an old reality, but it's not really the end of consciousness. Consciousness keeps growing and expanding, and you guys are all part of consciousness. You're a part of it, okay? Consciousness always needs to expand. It's part of the source. It cannot contract. It always wants to expand. So we're in that expansion. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you guys. Let me know what you guys think below and comment down below. Take care of yourselves and your families. And I will be putting out more videos very soon. So many blessings to you guys and take care. One more moment. Let's see. Okay, thank you guys. Take care, guys.